Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's the radioactive pop with Danny Limelight, United Wrestling Network World Heavyweight Champion. And make sure you tune into the Alliance blog every week. You heard it here first. Straight from Poppy.
This is Lois Brain here, and I'm advising you to do yourself a favor and watch the Alliance Guys podcast.
Hey guys, check this out. I am officially now sponsored by Dubby. Dubby is a clean energy drink made to give you focus with no crash. If you guys are like me, you're always needing a burst of energy, especially with one with no crash. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. It keeps me awake with no jitters, guys. Check it out. Merch link is in the bio. Dubby.
The Alliance blog, the Alliance blog, the Alliance blog. Alliance? If you put an S in front of Alliance, you have Salience. That's me.
Are you ready?
Power. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
I'm building an alliance.
God bless the internet.
Okay, let's party.
It's showtime.
It's time for the Alliance Guys podcast with your hosts Kevin Frazier, Jaden, DKM, and J. Cal.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is the Alliance Guys podcast, a presentation of alliance-wrestling.com, the premier source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. We'll be joined momentarily by our good friends DKM and Jaden as we will navigate the waters of National Wrestling Alliance talk and information. But I want to give a special shout out to everybody who tunes into this weekly live stream every Thursday or the pre-party on Tuesdays. We have surpassed 5,000 subscribers. And real quick, just to break down the math for you, at the end of December 31st, 2023, this live stream, this podcast, this channel had just over 2,300 subscribers, which is huge. But that means that from 2018, the first time this channel was active, till 2023, we had gained 2,300 subscribers. That's pretty cool. In the last 8 months, we've doubled that. And that doesn't happen without people who are committed to this channel's success. People like Dave Scooby, people like Jeremy, Championship Wrestling from Jeremy, people like Tim from the Alliance Gold, people like Jaden from Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators and longtime co-host of the Alliance Guys podcast, and people like DKM, who again have given up so much of their free time, of their energy, their wisdom to help promote this channel and be a part of this community with you guys. And from the bottom of my heart, I have to say thank you to both Jaden and DKM who are here with us live. Gentlemen, first of all, thank you so much for supporting all these years. Can you believe that we have surpassed 5,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel?
I can't wait to challenge you for that trophy smack belt that you're going to get in celebration and have to take it and pin you. I already got my finisher planned.
I was looking at the belt yesterday, and then they added a new design, which the original design that I had for the belt won't work with the new designed belt. So I'm weighing my options, and I'll send you guys some prototypes later when I have them. But I'm excited about that. Mr. DKM, your wise words on our monumental passing of 5,000.
Well, obviously, people are finally knowing where to go find talent. And so they have come to find us, the most talented podcasting trio ever formed, ever in the entire world.
Apparently, we're the world 6-man tag team champions of podcasting.
Yes. And one day, Jaden will get his belt.
You know, had I known that would have been an issue, I'd have taken the second belt and brought it to him.
Well, if I had known it had been an issue, I would have done it. But there's a good chance it'll ship not this coming Saturday, but next Saturday when you're out there.
Let me look at my flight and see if I have a layover in Dallas. Maybe just hand it off to me.
You know, if I would have known, well, I did know I have issues, so never mind.
All right. So again, everyone in the chat, you guys seriously, you helped make this happen. I won't lie, I do put in a lot of work into this channel, and I take a lot of pride in where we've come and where we've gone. And but it's honestly, this community doesn't exist without all y'all, you know. And like I said, Jeremy, I see you just jumped into the chat, but you get a huge bit of the thanks. Tim gets a huge bit of the thanks. Dave Scooby gets a huge bit of the thanks, even though he doesn't associate with us anymore. Kevin Douglas, aka Kevin Fraser, the former NWA World Junior Heavyweight title, gets a whole lot of thanks. And a little bit of credit to get us to where we are today. And so thanks from the bottom of my heart. We will showcase the title when it gets here. It's not ordered yet, but it is being designed. And yeah, it's you know, Jaden said it best, like the first 5,000 down, only 995,000 more to go to get that YouTube plaque. So let's go.
Everybody, please like, comment, subscribe. Apparently I can't talk. Subscribe and share so we can get to that 95,000 more to go. When we get 95,000, I'll give everybody who's currently on this podcast free tickets to Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators event.
Wow. There it is.
Like everybody's like, you mean that means DK, you, and myself. And anybody listening, of course, right now at this very moment, you know, because we got to support the OGs.
We'll take it. We're taking inventory of who's in the chat. Y'all got some tickets headed your way once we get to 100,000 subscribers. I do want to say hi to everyone that's here. Steve G, Double D, Devin Dowling, Noobs in the house. Luthez obviously is here. You know, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but Luthez has been a long time, you know, not just a viewer, but he goes back to our message board days.
Does he go back to the OG message board?
I think so. And Lou, you call it out here if that's the case, but I think he was on the old NWA message boards.
So I found every one of you guys.
Yeah. Willie Bowen says, J-Cal, Tyrus is going to have a talk show live from Papa John's Pizza. That sounds like a show that we should do here, that Papa John should send us pizza and we will eat it while we're talking about wrestling.
Do I have to eat it? Out of the three places, is probably the worst one.
Okay, give me a pizza place that you would prefer.
Domino's. It may not be great, but it's the most edible of the three big times.
You know what? I kind of agree with you on that. DK, what are your thoughts? Pizza Hut, Domino's, or Papa John's?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You're like, I don't eat that filth.
Hey, DK,
I will say good things about Domino's.
Yeah, I have a feeling he likes Domino's, so something tells me about that. And honestly, those lava cakes are freaking banging.
Now, I will say that is the best thing on the Domino's menu.
The lava cakes, the cheesy bread's pretty good too.
But not as good as chocolate.
Well, of course not.
Melty, ooey gooey chocolate.
Yeah, those lava cakes are great. And you know what? The brownies aren't too bad. They're actually better cold than they are warm, though.
Yeah, I like the brownies. Really, the only thing I don't get or understand are the tater tots.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan. Their chicken's actually not bad too. I like the ones with the bacon and the barbecue sauce.
Okay, since you brought up chicken and I'm already hungry, chicken wings, breaded or unbreaded? How do you prefer your chicken wings?
I like them both. It depends, honestly. Right. When it comes to like a more liquidy sauce, like a hot sauce, I prefer them unbreaded.
Okay.
When it comes to a thicker sauce, like a barbecue sauce, I like them better breaded. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I hear you.
What about you, DK?
I like chicken tenders.
I like chicken tenders too, and they're different on too for some reason.
Question question.
Wait, don't I
for
get
you.
to say my take on chicken wings?
He likes the
Well,
cross-based chicken wings.
Well, yeah. Do you like? My question is related to chicken wings, but do you like breaded or unbreaded?
So I like the unbreaded, and I like buffalo sauce.
Now, do you like? And I didn't even know that there were places that did this. But do you like when they serve the whole wing, or just like the cut section?
The whole wing, and up until recently, that was the only way you got them in New Jersey. No real chicken wing place in Jersey would have gave you the half-ass cut off a piece of wing and said it was two different wings.
So I prefer them split, but that's kind of how I grew up on them. We didn't have them connected. And I always, in my mind and in my head, referred to the split chicken wing as the drumette and then the wing. That's how I always kind of differentiated. And I got pushback from other people about that. So I'm willing to admit that maybe I'm not right. But I've always called it the wing, where it had the two bones, and then the drumette was the single bone. And I prefer the two bone piece as opposed to the drumette. But they're all good.
Well, you see, my experience is closer to yours. For the longest time, if you got wings anywhere, you got the two separate pieces. And so I remember the first time I went to a place where they served you like a whole wing, and they did not fold the wing, like where they'll kind of pretzel it or triangle it or whatever you want to call it. They served just fried wings, no breading. It's like, oh, man, that was pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's something about the bone when it's like the double bone on bone with that big wing. It's just something. It adds more flavor. It's something about it. And Pizza Hut hasn't been good since the book it days, man.
when you could go to the salad bar and they had kale, but it was only for decoration.
Yes.
Exactly.
Which is what kale honestly really should be. That's what it should have been all along.
Well, back in the olden days when I worked at pizza places, that's still when we made our own dough and grated our own cheese.
Believe it or not, I used to work at a pizza place too. It was a mom and pop shop. It called Home Run Pizza. And my favorite thing to do there is I was 18 when I worked there, so I got to serve all the beer. I got to pour all the beer, but I was a delivery driver, and they had me grade cheese in between deliveries. And man, that cheese somehow always ended up in my mouth, and I felt really bad about it, but I just had to eat it. And the other thing that I love to do is that they would have a lunch buffet, and then you'd have all those leftover wings at the end of lunch, and I would ask them to hold those wings for me, because then when I'd come in later and eat, I would just reheat those old sad wings that were sitting out and eat them and dip them. Oh, they were so good. And then the one last thing I used to love to do was I'd take the garlic bread and I'd layer barbecue sauce on it and the cheese and some pepperoni, and it was such a multitude of flavors, and I'm getting so freaking hungry right now, but man, it was so good.
I work for both Domino's and a mom and pop shop, and I've had good experiences with both. And they used to feed me well. I also used to work for a really good hoagie place, and it's still around, called Pal Joey's. Guys, if you're ever around, Pal Joey's Hoagies, the best hoagies in South Jersey. And Pal Joey used to feed me all the time too. Jaden, you're too skinny. That's back when I was too skinny. Yeah, sorry, I'm hungry now.
Same.
My dinner was some Rice Krispies, and now I'm thinking about ordering Domino's.
Yeah, jeez. And then I heard DK say boneless. He prefers like the boneless wings, the chicken tenders. And what I always say is this: when I order wings and they're like, "Do you want bone in or bone out?" I said, "I ordered wings. I didn't order chicken tenders."
Chicken tenders aren't the same as wings, though.
Well,
aren't the same as boneless wings.
Boneless wings to me are not chicken wings by the sheer virtue of they don't have bones in them.
No.
They're a chicken nugget. If you don't want to call it a chicken tender or a chicken strip or whatever, that's fine. But it's not a wing. It's a chicken finger.
It's not a chicken finger, and it's not a nugget, and I am not a nugget. Sorry. And it's not popcorn chicken. It's in between popcorn chicken and nuggets.
All right.
Tenders are long. and strips are even bigger.
I did not know that there was a
there's hierarchy when it comes to chicken.
double bone adds flavor.
In one of the places where I used to eat, there was no doubt that the boneless chicken wings were chicken tenders.
Oh,
because the box that they came in said chicken tenders.
Did they cut them up and you get one piece that doesn't have breading on it, like one side or two sides in some cases?
No, they were. I mean, they were small tenders, but they were tenders, and they were breaded, and you fried. You know, they came frozen. You fried them like you would a chicken tender. Everything about them was chicken tender, except for the fact that we put then chicken wing sauce on them.
Well, to me, that's just chicken fingers with hot sauce.
Yep. That's what they were.
There was a
Steve G in the chat mentioned Pioneer chicken, and I think that's only a Southern California thing. And there's like maybe 2 of them left that I know of, but Pioneer chicken was pretty freaking awesome. That's all. Go ahead.
I wish you both could come with me to eat a Assad's hot chicken, but Jay would never survive it.
I had some of that Nashville hot chicken like a month ago. Okay, I had some when I went to Nashville last year with the wife and kids, and then I had some again just a few months ago, and that stuff just does not work with me. Like give me some hot wings, the buffalo sauce, like the mild or little spicy, I can deal with that, but that Nashville hot chicken, man, that messes me up.
Now, there's a place where used to be by me at one time, and they used to make I don't know what to call them because they were not chicken tenders; they were just flat pieces of chicken with breading, and they would put hot sauce on them with ghost pepper, and I love that. My stomach didn't, but I love that.
I recently had something with jalapenos in it, and it kept me up all night. I was like, man, am I just getting old now? What's going on? I can't eat anything I like.
The problem is you think mayonnaise is spicy, so
that's not true. I don't even like. Oh, Jeremy had Chiba Hut. Woo!
What the hell is Chiba Hut?
So Chiba Hut's like a sandwich place. I get it that it's got a lot of pot names, but they don't have like, it's not cannabis. It's not food with cannabis or anything like that. It's just like it's like that's their gimmick, is like the stoner gimmick. So they have sandwiches that are, kind of what people who are stoned would eat, like big toppings. They have like a Rice Krispie peanut butter ball thing that's amazing. But yeah, we have one in Riverside, which is not far from me, and woo, that's good eating.
I mean to say something, by the way. I'm loving your shirt, Jay.
Oh, this one? Yeah, I kind of wish the colors lined up. I wish the colors would match, because this is like a red and this is more like a cardinal. But I could only get the shirt and this color. I mean, it would look good in black too, I guess. But I dig it. I really like that logo a lot. And you might see that more on the channel as we continue to grow.
If I get it, I might start wearing it. I might get it in blue and look kind of like Spider-Man-esque.
Yeah, we could do that.
Hey, Jay.
Yeah.
Remember when before you were a
YouTube celebrity?
A ham sandwich jabberoni when you were a chicken slinger?
Should I tell that story?
Oh, sure. There might be one person on here that hasn't heard it.
Okay, so many of you guys might remember there used to be a wrestler by the name of the Sheik. And the Sheik was actually before he became world champion, was a friend of the show. He would give me guests that were working for him in the Florida territory. He was always giving me press releases, getting his information out there. We were the voice of all of the Alliance back in the day. So anybody who was wrestling for the NWA knew who alliance-wrestling.com was. And we had our weekly podcast, which was Talk NWA back in the day. We would do that on Saturdays. And John Kabibo, the Sheik, would send me guests all the time. We had a falling out. Excuse me, I said Joe. we had a falling out, Joe and I, when he became world champion because, well, I don't want to get into all the semantics, but basically when it was time to lose the title, he didn't do the honorable tradition of losing the title. In fact, he ran away to Japan with the title. And every now and then again, you'll see him put the title up on eBay trying to sell it. And anyways, back then, I didn't want people to know, what I did for a living. I was very private on my social medias accounts back in the day. And I used to put that I worked for KFC and I was a chicken slinger. And that was just, just a joke for me and made me laugh. And Joe's brother would send me messages on our old message board and threatening to sue me because of what I defamed his brother, and threatened to call my bosses at KFC to get me fired. And the funny thing about it is I was not an employee of KFC. Even back then, I was still working for the family business. So it wasn't like he could call anybody to get me fired. But all in all, it's just kind of a funny joke about a chicken slinger. I got that from a movie called Gross Point Blank. I don't know if anyone remembers that movie, but
you should have given the phone number and had it be like the CIA and the FBI.
I don't think you were just a chicken slinger. If I remember correctly, you were head chicken slinger.
Yeah, you're right. It was.
And that was something that John put in one of his things about some guy who slings chicken or whatever, what does he know about wrestling and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it came up all the time. And look, what do I know about wrestling? I never stepped one foot into well, that's not true. I never have participated in a wrestling match. I never went to a wrestling school. I've just been watching the sport almost my entire life. I'm 45 years old, which means I've been watching pro wrestling for 40 years. Not that gives me any more credibility more than anybody else, but I have built relationships with not just wrestlers, but also promoters and referees and talent involved with wrestling. And I like what I like. I've always liked what I like. Devin Downey, I'm not old, man. You're just a baby, bro. And I mean that in the most compassionate way possible. You're a youngin'. You got your whole life ahead of you. I got a 20-year-old daughter.
I just realized something, Jay. If you had $150 million, you'd have the same credentials as Tony Khan to be a wrestling promoter.
There you go. Or if I had $1 million, I'd have the same credentials that Billy Corgan has.
He's got more than $1 million.
But I don't think he's spending it in wrestling.
No.
You're muted, DK.
Good point.
There you go.
Jeremy says when he has steak, he likes his plate to look like a crime scene afterwards. Oh my God, dude.
I do love a good bloody steak, a good medium rare steak. I mean, not even medium rare, honestly. I do love it. The only problem is I don't eat it that way very much anymore because I got sick once.
My wife.
Yeah, only once. I never really got food poisoning very much.
That's the only time I ever wanted to die.
My wife last night, she was so we have a really cool neighbor who is very culinary experienced, and he made essentially it was like Philly cheesesteaks but wontons. Does that make sense?
Do you make them like egg rolls or like?
Yeah, okay, yeah, basically like egg rolls. And the cool thing about that is my daughter has celiac disease; she can't have gluten. So when you could find something that's like a rice based, no gluten allergies in it, my daughter could eat it. So my wife tried, and they tasted delicious, but because there's so much grease and everything, they just fell apart. And the meat was good, even the crunchy little shell was good, but everything just fell apart because of all the grease. I'm like, maybe next time we'll do an air fryer for it, but it was good.
Would you deep fry it?
Yeah.
If you oven it a little bit before you deep fry it, or probably even air fry it a little bit before you deep fry it, it'll actually hold together better.
I think air frying would have just been just as good because you don't need it to be really greasy. The insides, the meat is already kind of greasy, and then you air fry it. It's going to have that crispy outside and a little saucy inside. I'm getting hungry.
Sam Retro, unless we're going to one of the famous places, if you're coming to the anniversary event with us, I think you are. We got to stop at Oregon Avenue. There's the worse the place looks on Oregon Avenue tends to be the better the cheesesteak.
Well, you know how to find the best food. You look and find the people who are barely passing their health inspections.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of truth to that too.
But there's some good food. And have you ever had a Philly soft pretzel, Jay?
No, not a Philly. No.
There's something different about the water when they're made in Philly. They just
you were telling me that, like you were telling me something about the bread and something about the water. So like,
yeah, the bread
the
too
is better. The bagels are better. The pretzels are better.
Actually,
are better.
The best were all voted in bagel, pizza, cheesesteak, and so pretzel were all voted best in New Jersey. But we'll ignore that. But there is something about Philly bread that tastes different than any other bread, and I think it's the toxic water.
Well, you know, it's hard to find all the deadly chemicals in water elsewhere.
Yeah. If you want to be immune to everything, including living, you should jump in a Schuylkill.
I know what?
Jump in the Schuylkill.
What the hell's a Schuylkill?
A Schuylkill, and it's a river of sorts. Can't say it's all water, but it's definitely a river.
Yeah, we don't know what's in it, but
there's bodies in there. I can tell you that now. Some of them most of them involuntary. Well, actually, probably all of them involuntary.
There's
but
a lot of bodies in the Nile River too.
I think you're in denial.
Yeah,
brother, you're just now coming to terms with that. You just now get that.
Yes, do not. Well, you know what? That's how we'll get Tyrus to be the guest. We'll just talk about food.
Dude, his stomach grumbling would be so loud you couldn't hear him talking.
Mine's grumbling right now. I'm seriously thinking about ordering Domino's, but it won't get here until I wouldn't be able to get it to after the podcast.
You can order it now. I'll put you on hold, dude. You just do this. Just boom. You're good. Go.
Nah. I shouldn't be eating it, even though it sounds really good right now.
That's one of the things too. And this 2024, I've been really trying to right some wrongs in my life and trying to look at things from a different perspective. And one of the things I have been working on is with this unhealthy relationship with food. And so the great part is I'm feeling better than I've ever felt. The sad thing is food is so good and I want all of it. And I'm choosing my battles and I'm eating a lot better for myself because I want to see my kids grow up. But man, that's a hard pill to swallow when pizza, literally I could have a pizza here and it would be great and I would love it. But that's not exactly the best thing for me.
Just so you know, from the 30th and 31st tonight, probably maybe even the 1st, you're not on any kind of diet.
Yeah, no, and that's part of the reason why, I'm being more cautious and observant about my diet right now because I know when we're in Philly, I'm going to eat whatever the F I want. And I don't think we have a meeting place yet before the show, but hopefully we can all meet up somewhere prior to the event and have a beer and have a sandwich or something. And then after the show, likewise, I think there's like 8 of us that are going to be there. If we can find a place to go hang out, grab some food, grab some drinks. I'm
mugged? Get carjacked?
Well, that one I'm hoping to avoid.
Get shot? Get tetanus?
Tetanus. I think you should get tetanus.
I would like to do shots.
Not quite the same thing.
Drive-bys?
Matthew Holiday, are you going to get Richard Holiday to sign your 10 pounds of gold? Look, it depends on what happens Saturday if I'm bringing the damn thing or not, right? Because, and good way to stir the conversation, Matt. We do need a little direction here every now and then. This big event.
Now they're talking about wrestling.
we get back to food in a minute.
Instead of directions, I prefer recipes.
I'll put that down too. But this Saturday, and Big Chris Dog said to me privately, he's like, if this is such a big deal, why isn't anyone else talking about it? And I said, Chris, It's the NWA. We're talking about it. We are the NWA fan base. This is, I mean, look, I know that hashtag NWA fam reaches a much bigger span than just the 12 people in this chat and the 3 people who are talking to you. But this is the NWA fan base. If we're excited about something, that means that the NWA fan base is excited about something. If we hate something, more than likely the fan base hates it too. This is a big deal, and it's big for a couple of different reasons. Number one, when was the last time that the NWA had a matchup that built up that anybody cared about for the world title? And I mean,
Aldous and Murdoch, and then after it happened, everybody didn't care anymore.
Yeah. Maybe Cardona and Murdoch, and that's because those guys were on Busted Open, and there is kind of being pushed down everybody's throat. Cardona was really big on the indies at the time. But since then, like, was Tyrus versus EC3, was that a needle mover for anybody?
Only because we were hoping so bad that he was going to lose.
Right, but like outside of that, did anybody care?
Only people who wanted Tyrus to lose.
Right.
Which was everybody except for Tyrus and baby.
Well, there was some Tyrus friendly fans in St. Louis that were not happy about his defeat, but
that's what happens when you bring your family to the event. If he would have wrestled earlier, they all would have left by then.
That there might be some truth to that, but I digress. What I'm trying to say is this: like, this is a matchup that I think people are caring about. Richard Holliday's doing a good job of promoting that on his social media. EC3's doing a good job of promoting it on his social media. Exodus Pro has had a few clips that they've released. This matchup didn't happen overnight. It wasn't just a dart, at a dartboard. They've been building this matchup through Exodus Pro for a while. This isn't Richard Holliday's first venture into Exodus Pro. I think he's been on like the last 3 or 4 cards. So for this matchup, for Exodus Pro fans, those fans in Cleveland, Ohio, like, they've been building to this moment, and it's spilling over where there's enough people on our channel who are talking about it. In Discord, they're talking about it. We're talking about it here on the live stream. We talked about it on the pre-party. People care about this matchup. And I guess the real test will be on Saturday to see how many people tune in to watch Exodus Pro on the NWA YouTube channel, which, again, it's the first time the international fans are going to have a live NWA event for them to watch. It's going to be the first time any live event has happened in the NWA for this year. Everything else has been, delayed through CW app, watching it, a tape delayed version. Exodus Pro has had quite a few events, but this will be the first one that they've done live. Joe Kazana Promotions is still producing events, but also these are tape delayed. We're not seeing them live. This will be the closest thing to like
They're more recent than the NWAs.
What's that?
So Joe Kazana is more recent than the NWA.
Yeah, this is true. So yeah, it's I'm excited, man, and I think it's a really, really big deal. DK, what's your take on it? Am I overhyping it?
Well, I mean, look, let's be honest, let's be realistic. Love Big Chris Dog, but he sometimes wants to be the villain or whatever.
Yeah, he wants to be a gimmick, by the way. He's no villain, he's a gimmick.
I mean, who
I love you, Chris, but you're a gimmick.
who talks about the NWA? Well, who talks about MLW? Who talks about really even ROH until they get back on TV as AEW Ring of Honor? Not a lot of people. Who talks about most promotions? I mean, I remember telling what was his name? Tony from NWA Smoky Mountain. Tony
Gibbons?
Yeah. I remember one time talking to him and saying something about, I flat out, I go, the only reason I follow your promotion is because you're part of the NWA. Because what does a guy in Fort Worth, Texas care about what's happening in Tennessee? And he's like, well, that's fair. And quite honestly, when, they stopped being part of the NWA because of Billy and everything like that, I stopped following them. And that's tens and tens of promotions that have been that way. I followed them when they were part of the NWA. Didn't really follow them much after. Closest thing that is the exception to that rule is I've kept up with Dave Marquez's promotions and shows. Sometimes I've liked them, sometimes I haven't. But like, you know, I don't follow the Memphis Championship Wrestling. I don't follow half of what goes on here in Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't care enough about most indie wrestling. I don't care that much about most things. I haven't seen anything other than a YouTube clip of Raw or SmackDown since the last premium live event. I haven't watched any of them. I haven't watched to see everybody's reaction to Judgment Day. I haven't watched SmackDown to see Roman Reigns. I mean, they just don't interest me that much. I watched the Von Erichs and Dustin win the 6-man title.
It's more than I did.
Which I had recorded. I didn't actually watch the show when it happened. I recorded it and I fast forwarded everything except for that. And then I watched, and the only reason I was watching it was because it was the Von Erich boys. And if they hadn't been them, I wouldn't have won. And I was surprised they won it.
And you know what? The cool thing about that too is while it is the Von Erich boys, they were teaming with Dustin. And while I don't think maybe Dustin would have been by himself, I think it did add a little bit to that too.
Yeah. And of course now James H. Jackson keeps me up to date on what's going on in Ring of Honor. And so I guess Dustin's won the tag team titles with another guy. And so I forget who, but
Sammy Guevara.
Sammy. So, you know, apparently they're finally focusing ROH to be more like NXT instead of just, well, here are the guys that you're used to being in ROH, and here's the guys we're not using anymore. So, you know.
Can you guys think of any other NWA promotion or former NWA promotion you guys follow?
Former?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, again, NWA Hollywood, now Championship Wrestling from Hollywood or United Wrestling Network. I'm still very much on that. In terms of NWA former promotions, I still follow this promotion that's based out of Glassboro, New Jersey, called Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. They do events, not shows. I still check them out. I still, what the kids say, I still mess with them. That's probably to the extent. Like I kind of want to follow Innovative because Tony Givens, I consider him a friend of the show, good dude, and I liked when I would watch their events, but it's I just there's not enough hours in the day for me to follow everything.
How about you, DK? Can you think of any other promotion you follow that's former NWA?
No, just Marquez and Zirconians. I don't.
Yeah, Dr. Z.
I don't really. Yeah, I don't really follow.
Are there even any running?
That was going to be my next question. It's like if we go all the way back to before Thorpe took over, do any of the promotions that were a big part of the NWA at that point, not necessarily the affiliate, because you know, hey, Dave Marquez was kind of associated with them, so you know, yeah, they were NWA. I don't know of any that. I mean, I couldn't tell you if Jim Miller's still running. I couldn't tell you if anybody's still running the old New England territory that Rumble ran. I don't think any of the Florida promotions are still around. I don't know. I mean, I really can't tell you. I don't know if any. Is anyone still running Georgia? Does Anarchy or whatever they were still exist? Or
So far, I think you might be no, with maybe the exception of Jim Miller. I don't remember if he's still wrestling. He was not that long ago. Maybe before the pandemic. I don't know if after the pandemic if he was.
I'm looking it up right now, and I'm not having a lot of luck finding it.
I can't think of any though. Now I'm thinking about it. New England Championship Wrestling doesn't run, I don't think, anymore. I
mean, I guess 01 in Japan still runs.
Yeah, I guess if you can count that.
Does the Australian promotion?
WCWA, was it?
Well, there was a couple of them. There was EPW, which was basically connected to Dave Marquez. They're still running. Explosive Perth Wrestling or Explosive Pro Wrestling, they're still around. The one that was associated with the Sheik, that one is gone. That was Jack Hartley. He kind of went out on his own deal, and so that kind of fell by the wayside.
Was that Warzone? Was there a Warzone or War?
Yeah,
something?
and that's the one where Cabana and Pierce had the final match, and that one I don't believe is still running.
NWA kills promotions, except for Dangerous Drone Wrestling Gladiators, still here.
Well, I guess Wildcat.
Wildcat is still running. And then real quick, I just want to point something out to Matthew Underwood. We were talking in the chat a little bit. He said that EC3's next defense should be number 75. And I think that might be hyperbole, but I do know that there's been a lot of matches that have happened at the School of Morton, of all places, that weren't publicized, that weren't really televised, except for that local area, their YouTube channel, I guess. So, I mean, at one point, my math was somewhere close to 50 in the last year, and I kind of thought he'd hit 50 before the anniversary show. If he's saying 75, I mean, that's 75 matches booked. But God, I that's really hard to believe that he's defended the title 75 times. And I'm not saying that.
Of course, I posted those matches,
but like 75 times. And I do know that cage match is not 100% reliable. Like I said, they don't have the title defense that I went to. I know that they're missing some other title defenses that were there. Like I said, the School of Morton had 4 or 5 title matches. So there are some that did not get publicized, but 75 seems like an awful lot. I mean, there's only 52 weeks a year. That means he's multiple defenses every week. That doesn't seem realistic to me.
Yeah, I mean, Jeremy brings up TNA, but TNA was never officially a NWA promotion. They were
a licensee, but they were never an actual member.
Yeah,
they were licensed. They licensed the use of the 10 pounds of gold and the tag team titles.
And that was kind of a mess.
It didn't last very long.
What was it, 5 years? Did it last 5 years?
It was about 5 years. I don't even think it was a full 5 years. It was the two. So they came into fruition about 2002, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe, yeah.
And by 2007, the agreement was done, and the NWA was stripping Christian Cage and the Dudley Boys of their respective NWA titles.
Yeah, that was a crazy thing.
Do you think the NWA should have paid to have them drop it on a random show?
Yeah, I mean, I think. Okay, so look, as the story as I remember it, and DK, I'm sure you have a different perspective, and Jaden, I mean, back then you were closely connected to some of the wrestling that was happening in New Jersey, so you both might know a little bit more than me. But as I remember, what I've been told from Dave Marquez and other people is that the TNA was not approving title changes from the NWA, which was part of their initial agreement. It was also they were putting the belt on people who were not working the minimum that the NWA required its world champion to work. At one point, the world's heavyweight champion worked significantly less for NWA members so that they could bring in the champion. It was kind of a win-win situation. So a guy like Adam Pearce would get like $350 for his title appearance, and he couldn't charge more than $350 for his appearance to the NWA. Now, what he charged any other promotion outside of the NWA was negotiated between him and that promotion, but NWA members would get him at that rate, and that was how it was supposed to be for any world champion. So whether it be Steve Corino or Hashimoto or Sabu, that was that rate that they were supposed to get. And of course, travel and all that stuff too, but it was supposed to be a discounted rate, and they couldn't get Sting for $350 an appearance. They couldn't get Raven for a $350 appearance. They couldn't get Christian to come in and work these shows for such little money, which was part of the agreement. So when they couldn't book the champions, they couldn't use their own titles, it was becoming increasingly difficult. Plus, the NWA was a lot of the board of directors were advocating that hey, you need to get these title matches approved by us before they happen. And even at one point, I heard that Marquez was at one of the pay-per-view events, and I don't know how true this story is, but Jeff Jarrett went to him and said, "Hey, Dave, we're going to change the title, okay?" And that was the notice that he gave him, before the event. And it was like, wait, what? That's not how it was supposed to go. So, yeah, I mean, DK, what was your experience? Like, what do you remember them? The reason why that.
Well, it all depends on who you talk to. Well, because who you talk to will give different versions. Some of the Jay doesn't love us anymore. Some of the full members didn't promote anyway. And so a lot of them were happy just to get whatever money they were getting from TNA. Now, I think it was Fred who claimed that basically they gave TNA complete control of the titles, that they did not have to be approved by the NWA. But they were supposed to notify them, but the NWA didn't have any say in it. And then I know another person told me one time that there were a couple of promoters, Marquez being one of them, who wanted to really start booking the champion, but couldn't because, like Jay said, despite the agreement, they were, the champions weren't going to come in for the money that the NWA promoters were going to offer them. And then also there was supposed to be like one person that talked between TNA and the NWA, and that was, I think, Ed Chuman. Was that his name?
Chuman, I think, right?
Yeah.
Chuman?
Yeah, Ed Chuman. And so they weren't going to so they were supposed to go through him to talk to TNA. Well, half of them didn't. They would contact TNA directly. And I guess Chuman was a little bit of a people pleaser. A lot of people liked him. So he would ask them something. I don't think so. At one point, there was supposed to be an agreement that it was the agreement that they were working on was supposed to be a 10-year agreement. And then at the end of that time, supposedly TNA had the option to buy the NWA name. And when promoters were starting to do it and were starting to want the titles, to book the titles, and TNA was tired of dealing with it, then everyone just said, well, let's go our own way. And there were negotiations about, NWA members wanted them to drop the titles at at NWA events. And then, TNA would just kind of basically ignore it and have leave their own belts and stuff like that. So they were having all sorts of problems. So finally it was just agreed that the titles would be vacated on a given date, and they would and that there wasn't supposed to be, can't remember what the phrase is called in the contract, but no bad talking about each other. You just smile and go, that's a mutual agreement. We hate each other, but it's a mutual agreement. No.
We mutually hate each other. No.
Yeah, we mutually hate each other, but it's everything's fine. And so, but yeah, so they weren't supposed to talk negatively about each other, which I guess is, and then when the day came that they were supposed to be, the title's supposed to be vacant, the NWA, what was his name? I can't remember his name for the life of me.
Trowbridge?
What?
Bob Trowbridge?
Yeah, Bob Trowbridge. Bob Trowbridge, made the announcement saying they were stripping him of the titles. And so Kurt Angle won the TNA title that night and had the NWA belt. But then neither organization recognized that title. And so TNA vacated theirs and telling everybody about the new belt, the new belt that they were having done and blah, blah, blah. And so, yeah, it was something that a lot of us at the time didn't think would work out well, and it didn't. Do you remember anything, Jaden?
I was just talent back then, so I really didn't have much going on other than there was a lot of, for the smaller NWA promotions around that area, there was a lot of hope and excitement that this was going to bring the NWA. And I remember the thing was they were telling us that we're going to start showing up on TNA wrestling events as, NWA talent, especially when they tour around. TNA is going to tour around to these different promotions and use these NWA wrestlers locally as on the card. That's the only thing I really remember.
Yeah, that was supposed to be the start. When they first made the deal, the idea was that they were going to be on Wednesday and they'd be in a given area. And then excuse me. And then
they're trying to kill you, DK, by spilling out the tea.
And then the wrestlers were going to work the weekend shows for the promoters, because promoters normally had shows on Friday or Saturday. So they figured that they'll give the locals a chance to be seen on their weekly pay-per-view, and then it would give their guys other opportunities to work in the area. And of course that died on the very first pay-per-view.
The only thing I noticed is one of the events I was on was promoted on, I can't remember if it was NWA television or NWA pay-per-view. That's it. That's the only thing I really noticed of any kind of anything that helped the NWA affiliates at the time.
Now,
I don't know if you guys remember, we had Jarrell Clark on earlier this year talking about his time, and he was the world junior heavyweight champion, and TNA did not want him to bring the belt. It was not showed on television. He wasn't, I don't even think he was acknowledged as champion while he was on TNA wrestling, which was so bizarre because it's like you have this working relationship with the NWA. TNA had their X Division title. He was a junior heavyweight champion. Like, I don't think it would have hurt anyone for him to wear the title to defend it on TV, but that was Ixnay. They never did it.
Although they did for a few weeks, and a very, very few weeks, although they did wrestle, or not wrestle, they did promote some of the wrestling shows of the territories. They, you know, that's why I hate when people still tell the story. Well, Dan Severn was stripped of the title because he couldn't make the first. No, they didn't want. They basically wanted to pretend that the NWA had not existed from the last time you saw it on TBS until they were bringing it back. There was never any intention, because if they wanted to, you would have sent Shamrock or Jarrett or somebody to Japan to win the belt.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing with the tag belts. They wanted vacant titles that they could fill. And they didn't want to talk about any of the other titles or anything like that. I do want to point out to Willie Bullen here, he's talking about Hogan never wrestling people. Actually, Hogan did wrestle Bruiser Brody. Don't know about Steve Williams. He didn't wrestle All Japan guys. He did wrestle New Japan. He wrestled Inoki. Actually, legit knocked Inoki out. He did wrestle Stan Hansen.
I saw him against Tenryu.
Yeah, Russell Tenryu. I mean, look, I'm going to say this again. I don't care if you like WWE. I don't care if you like Hogan. I don't care if you like anything. But let's not ignore things. Most of the people who like wrestling today, Hogan's largely the reason for it. Okay? Sorry to burst your bubbles, but, you know, that's it. Hogan was a top mega superstar in the wrestling world, like had not been seen. And it was, you know, the old lightning in a bottle. He probably couldn't have done it without Vince, and Vince probably couldn't have done it without him. And, you know, that's just life. And so, you know, give the devil his due when they, you know, deserve it. Hogan could wrestle. A lot of people don't realize that. Go watch some of his Japan stuff. Go watch some of his early WWE stuff, or WWF, excuse me, stuff. You know, he could actually do wrestling moves, wrestling holds. When he first came after Sheik won the title, he teamed with Bob Backlund in the match, and it was almost like, what the heck? He was doing roll throughs and armbar, you know, just like, huh.
I think he teamed with Backlund. Backlund was still champion. There was one or two events I think he did before Backlund dropped it.
Maybe the one I saw, it was after Backlund lost. I know that. So it's just, you know, let's not play games. Let's not hate for the sake of hating. I mean,
that's Chris's job.
Yeah, exactly. But, well, you know, Chris likes AEW. Well, fine, like AEW, but don't tell me that AEW is good.
You know, some people do think it's good. Some people like going to donkey shows in Tijuana.
Jesus, I'm right here, dude. I'm right here.
Some people thought the Ultimate Warrior was a great wrestler, and that's what got him into wrestling.
So, yeah, that's kind of scary. But
can you see that?
Triple A.
Sábado, Augusto 3, 24.
So,
I go to TJ for Lucha Libre shows. I was telling my friend this, he's a casual fan of wrestling. And he's like, so you're going down to TJ to see Lucha Libre? I'm like, yeah. He goes, that's not a euphemism. You're really going? Like, yes. He goes, well, how does that all go? And I go, I drive down to San Ysidro. I park in a 24-hour parking spot. Very safe, very convenient. I literally walk to the port of entry into Mexico. I go through, I fill out my paperwork. I have my passport, which was here earlier, but it's not now. And I take my passport and they stamp the back of it. They take my immigration card. I walk in. I turn off my phone and turn it back on. You have to do that because you're in another country and your phone service won't work. And then I call an Uber and I take the Uber right to the auditorium. Boom, I'm in. I get my ticket. I go sit down. I hardly talk to anybody because mi español es no muy bueno. Yo entiendo más español. Yo hablo un poquito español. And I listen and I watch and I shut up and I take my phone and I record video and I take pictures and I have a blast. And as soon as the show's done, as soon as that last pinfall goes, unless I know I'm going to see somebody I know there, I go out, I get back in that Uber, go right back to the border, show my passport, declare nothing because I don't buy nothing, and I cross over. One more thing, when you go into TJ, make sure you have napkins to use for toilet paper because a lot of places don't give you toilet paper. You have to pay for it.
And Jay's favorite wrestler is El Burro Exotico.
No, bullshit. That is bullshit.
Well,
El Burro Exotico.
Done for tonight. So, TJ.
Yeah.
Did you watch NWA Power this week?
I did, and we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But Rosville has a question, and it's something that I kind of wanted to talk about. Was the big NWA announcement at 76 is that they're using 2-ply, which is funny. Good job, Roz. But I'm asking you guys, Billy Corgan has been very vocal about these announcements. Typically, when he's made these public announcements at these live events, it has been to announce new territories. He showed up at Exodus Pro and announced that they would be an official territory for the NWA. He was there in Florida and said that the FTW would not become a member of the NWA. He was there in Joe Kazana Promotions and announced that Joe Kazana would now be a territory. Visited the Page sisters down at Crossfire, announced that they would be a territory. So my question to you two gentlemen, and anybody who wants to respond in the chat, is what do you think the announcement's going to be?
I have a feeling it's not going to be NWA Dogs unless Dr. Zirconium was kayfabing me.
You think?
Bless you.
I'm allergic to your bullshit, and I know what's going on.
Yeah. I think he has that El Burro disease.
God damn it. So, I mean,
didn't we talk about that one time? Wasn't there something on that? Wasn't this the subject about catching something from a burrow in the past?
No.
It's nothing to sneeze at.
I'm allergic to your bullshit. Now, anyways,
what was your question?
What is your either one of you? Don't all speak at once. What is your idea that this announcement's going to be? I'll be happy to share mine, but I'd like to hear your guys' first.
Well, I have no clue. Suppose there's talk about, there being a third TV deal. So maybe they'll be ready to announce that. Good old Joey G. You know who Joey G is, Jay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Galley. Papa Galley. We call him Papa Galley now that he's a father.
Yes. I think it was him that said something about the new deal was involving CW also. So,
okay.
Sorry for all you people who think that they're leaving CW. And so I'm going to combine these ideas and say, I think that they've come to an agreement to where their signature live events, is that what they're calling them, signature live events?
Yeah.
That their signature live events will be live stream on CW. That's going to be my guess.
On the app.
On the app. Yeah, streamed. So, yes.
I think that would be a great announcement. I think that a lot of us NWA fans would rejoice with that. I know, like, I spent a whole 20 minutes on Tuesday talking about the NWA, the fact that these taped events are so sporadic, and like right now we're watching stuff from April. When you and I watched the Crockett Cup, we were there live. That was in May. We didn't get to see the payoff of that until the end of July.
Yeah, so the stuff we're watching now was actually taped before that.
Yeah, and it feels like there's a disconnect from the brand. Also, I think if you were to switch to a signature live event being streamed on the CW app as a separate event, it would make... I feel like having the current setup the way it is, with each episode of Power just being whatever they film, so your pay-per-views are just another episode of Power. And I know Boyle Del Mar, when they were on our live stream, had mentioned that how exciting it is because these signature live events now are for the fans, and the wrestling is going to be so much better. I haven't noticed that the wrestling's any better from the signature live events from the Power. And in fact, I feel like, if anything, these being just episodes of Power have diminished the importance of the pay-per-view from the past. So, like, the significance of the Crockett Cup feels so much watered down when it's a 4-week event on television or on the app, as opposed to being a pay-per-view or a significant night of wrestling on the CW app. So I agree with you on that one, DK. I think that's
it was 5 weeks.
Fair enough, 5 weeks. And I mean, you could even say 6 weeks, because they had matches leading up to it that were filmed in Florida leading up to the Crockett Cup, tournament qualifying matches. But at the end of the day, I just feel like if they were to do what you're saying, by giving the fans on the CW app that 3-hour live event, it will feel more significant. It'll bring some importance back to it. Look, the fans will be happy if they don't have to pay for it. They can still watch it on the CW app, and that's unfortunate.
Not international fans.
Say that again?
Not international fans.
True, but the international fans have already been dogged anyways. They're not, no pun intended. The international fans have already been screwed over. They're not getting to watch Power as it is anyways. And if it's not, if everything continues to stay the same, all you're doing is watering down your product for 52 weeks of television.
Yeah, they no longer have big events.
It's going to be.
What do you think it's going to be?
My source says we're going to get 52 weeks of Adventures at Coneyland.
Oh God, 52 weeks of Billy Corgan talking about the Smashing Pumpkins, the Zuzu Tea House in Chicago, and them shitting on Kyle Davis week in and week out.
I would like to point out that I have not watched 1 second of that show.
Same.
I can't say the same. It shows up all the time for some reason on Instagram Reels.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess I've seen reels of it, but I have not gone out of my way to watch the show on any of the apps.
There's this neat thing that when the reel starts and you see Billy Corgan, you just immediately scroll, and then you don't watch anything. It's
when you're on
TikTok.
There's a lot.
I'm about to say there's not a lot of Billy Corgan on it, surprisingly, except when he was talking about how he got insulted when somebody called him a villain, and he said he's not a real life villain. He's a great, nice guy.
Sure.
So
I mean, I've never met him. I was standing about 3 feet from him, but I never met him.
I've met him twice, and I don't think he remembers me from either time.
Probably.
I remember meeting Billy Corgan for the first time in Port Hueneme, California, the night before a radio station out here in Southern California, which is was a very popular rock station called K-Rock. In fact, the world famous K-Rock, which launched many, many bands' careers, have an annual concert at Christmas time called the Almost Acoustic Christmas. Nothing about the concert is acoustic. Billy Corgan was on one of the nights, and that night was a much better lineup, and they sold out. The second night, which was Sunday, was not as strong a lineup and did not sell out. Billy lamented that, well, it's because real rock and roll was there on Saturday night and not that imitation rock and roll that was there on Sunday night. And I just thought that was so, like, number one, a very conceited thing to say. There's a lot of good bands on that second night, but it's also like, who wants to go see a concert Sunday night when they have to go to work Monday morning? I think that'd be a huge deterrent for me. What about you, Jaden?
They should have had Dr. Skitch and the Shrimp Shack Shooters. They would have sold out for sure.
There you go.
Yes.
So at one point, Dave Lagana was taking a photo of Billy, and I guess it was for Billy's Christmas card or some shit like that. I don't know, but they put him near like this this little thing that was supposed to be like a decorative type. I don't know what to call it, but it would kind of resembled a cage. And then I said, "Oh, hey, look, Billy's in a cage." Despite all his rage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't go over well. Didn't go over well. And then the next time I met him was in Atlanta prior to the Power tapings. I got to be a part of the press coverage that they had, and when they announced the show, they announced Power, they announced the name. Unfortunately, I didn't get to talk to Billy. This time was dominated. I was recording my camera. I was going to interview him, and he's like, "Oh, this guy was here first." So I just let the camera record. Figured I could use the stock footage later. And Tom Latimer nearly knocked my camera over and caught it. And you could see in the video, you could see Camille's face like, "Oh shit," you know. But I did get to take a selfie with Billy that weekend, so there was that.
Cool.
Yeah, that's it.
I met Donkey Lips from Salute Your Shorts.
Was that a Disney show?
No, it was a Nickelodeon show.
Oh yeah. We're about the same age. I don't remember that show ever like appealing to me. That one, and I think there was like Holes or something like that had a young.
That was a Disney show, and that was that guy from Transformers. Mm-hmm. And I had nieces and nephews that liked Nickelodeon and the stuff that was on at that time. So that's why I know it.
Because I'm like, that didn't register with me. The other night we were watching Disney Channel, Disney Plus, and my kids love watching. What's the show on there? Oh crap! Now I can't remember. Phineas and Ferb, and I've been watching that for 20 years because my oldest daughter used to watch that when she was little. My wife says, "Oh yeah, I used to watch that when I'd come home from high school." Wait, what?
Phineas and Ferb's not been around that long. No way.
Let's see.
No way.
Right now.
I know you robbed the cradle, but no way.
I didn't rob the cradle. She was 20 when we first met. Phineas and Ferb, right? Ferb.
You told me she was 19.
No, that was my first wife.
I thought he said. Yeah, I thought he said that she pretend she said she was 18.
No, that's. You're trying to get me canceled, sir. No, you were correct. The first episode came out August 17, 2007. My wife had already graduated high school by like 4 years by then, so I think I'm okay.
By like a week and a half.
A week and a half.
August at least 3 months. 2 months.
Wow, they just celebrated 17 years of being on television, man. That's pretty impressive.
And they're coming back too.
I didn't know it wasn't. It's still on Disney Plus. I still watch it.
Yeah, they're all new. They haven't made new episodes in a while, so they're making new episodes now. This is going to be the next summer after. Their entire everything they've had was one summer.
I'm going to say, Matthew Underwood, you shut your mouth, you beautiful human being. Just shut your mouth.
Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated.
My kids think I do a really good Doofenshmirtz, but I'm not going to do it here because, we're saving that for Philly.
Maybe if DK puts on a fedora, he'll do it.
Can he make the Phineas sound or the Perry sound?
No.
I can't do it.
Y'all need help. Y'all need Jesus.
Our buddy Roswell says the tape schedule is too slow, which leads me to think, Jaden, we didn't get your answer. What do you think this big announcement's going to be?
I said it. 52 episodes of Carneyland, Adventures of
Oh, okay.
Carneyland.
Okay. That
I
was your
really
answer.
don't know,
Okay.
honestly. It's Billy
Unfortunately, he
Corgan.
was serious.
Yeah. Unfortunately, though, like I said, it's with Billy Corgan. Who knows what NWA promotion is anybody even helping promote? I know nobody. I'm from the area. I know nobody is helping with this at all. Are they going to, if they're intelligent, they're going to reach out to the Monster Factory, or maybe Kevin Kelly's AXW in not Philly, but parts of Pennsylvania? Or they, unfortunately, I'm afraid they're going to do something like they're going to partner with Game Changer Wrestling.
Would that shock you if they did?
No, I wouldn't, honestly, and that's makes it even worse. But
I was going to say that's the sad thing. I wouldn't be surprised.
there's not an NWA promoter around here. Closest we get is Spencer Slade wrestles in a promotion in Pennsylvania, and that's about it. I mean, Wrecking Ball wrestles a lot around here, but nobody that's NWA affiliated. Heck, the only promotion I know that's going to have an NWA logo on their poster soon, ironically, is Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators, when they have Spencer Slade going after the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators heavyweight champion Bray Comrade on Friday night, October 18th at the Pennsville Middle School in beautiful, historic Pennsville, New Jersey.
What's the address
for
for
an hour
the
and
23?
16 minutes to get that reference in? I've been waiting.
4 William Penn Avenue, by the way.
All right.
Yep, I've seen the poster being what's going to look at, so that's going to have it. It's still not finished, but that's going to have the NWA logo because that's the thing that is a affiliated signed wrestler on an independent card is you have to promote the NWA. So of all people promoting the NWA coming up, it'll be Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling. Who'd have thunk it?
That's kind of ironic, don't you think? And maybe a little too ironic.
I really do think.
So just out of curiosity, I just now mapped how long it would take to get from Nashville to 2300 South Swanson Street in New Jersey. And, well, that might, that's a long drive. It's a 12-hour drive, but that, they might be bringing in the ring from Joe Kazana Promotions. I know that they've done a lot of their ring work for them in the past. Otherwise,
the arena has a ring I think you have to use.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, I believe you have to use their production facility and their Tron and their ring and everything if you rent the building. I believe that's part of the thing. It's part of the, in a way it kind of saves you expense until you realize how expensive renting the arena is. It's not cheap.
All right. So those are your idea is not I don't think it's a feasible idea. I really enjoy DK's idea, and I think there's something to that. I want to go to what the fans are saying in the chat. Fans. The viewers are saying in the chat. Lou says, I think it's going to be an international access to power.
I don't.
You don't think so? Sam Retro says, I think it will be the territories will be on the NWA YouTube channel.
I don't think that's a good idea. They got their own.
I think it's a better idea because you have such huge numbers on the NWA YouTube channel, more than any of the other ones.
So why aren't they sharing it? Like the Alliance guys has 5,000 people right now, and they could share, like, say, a Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators or a Viamos Lucha Libre thing using the community tab, and that's what gets viewers.
I need to figure out how to do that.
Super simple. I can walk you through
it. We'll talk later. Matthew Underwood says Kevin Kelly on the call. Let new dad Joe have some time off. I don't think that knowing Joe Galley the way I do, I don't think he would be interested in taking time off. I think he is very passionate about being the head call on all those shows. I don't think he'd be interested in taking a day off. Noob says his guess is we might get the return of NWA USA. I mean, it just depends on what, how that's going to happen, how they plan on putting that out there. I mean, look, there's that TV taping that's happening at the in Queens, New York on the 27th. And if that is going to happen, there's a lot of verbiage on the tickets that the event will be taped. And so maybe that could be part of a new program for them.
Is it TV taping? I thought it was just a house show.
It is, or it's being called a house show. It's like a tour, but they're apparently filming it.
Do you know where in Queens it's going to be? Do you have the poster anytime that we could look at?
Say that again.
Do you have the poster? Do you know where in Queens it's going to be?
I think I have it up here. Let me see.
By the way, it cost you like $20 to get from New Jersey to Queens over that bridge.
So it's at Sacred Heart Catholic Academy. I think we knew that. Bell time 7:30 in Queens.
That's different than the Sacred Heart Church that Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators will be on Saturday night, September 28th in beautiful, pedestrian-friendly Riverton, New Jersey.
Yeah.
I didn't do that on purpose. It just worked out well.
And then I have this poster too. So yeah, I mean, maybe that this on tour event is going to be like maybe a reboot of the NWA on tour. Maybe that's what they're planning on doing. I don't really know. I just reporting on what I see here.
NWA Queens, and they definitely should have Poyo if they're going to call it that.
Matthew Underwood says NWA Queens, baby. Mike Santana for the 10 pounds of gold.
Maybe a good
Mike Santana. I feel like he's being overused right now. I see him everywhere, and it doesn't make me want to see him more. It makes me want to see him less. And then as it goes, let's see. I don't see any more suggestions, but let me tell you what I think it's going to be. Willie says, you think that the NWA will add more territories to the group? No, I don't think so. I don't think so because I don't feel like that's in the best interest for Billy or the NWA at this point in time. Just adding another territory doesn't make them better. Adding another territory doesn't make them cooler. Unless it's the right territory with the right growth. And as Jaden pointed out, there is no connection to most of these East Coast promotions to the NWA, at least not right now.
Can you bring that poster up one more time? I'm trying to figure out who's on this card because I'm trying to think who in the area. I mean, is that the slime balls in the back?
Slime balls in the back.
Who's the dude on the far left?
The far left, next to Aaron Stevens?
Yes.
So that's Mike. He was on to this week's episode of Power. I don't remember his name.
Mike Rapata?
No, not Rapata.
And then there's Idol, and there's Wrecking Ball, and that's Joe Alonzo?
No.
Who's the one on the far right?
That's not Alonzo. I'm not sure.
I mean, not Joe Alonzo. No, Joe Cacazio or something?
Yeah, maybe Joe Ficazio. I thought it was Perdua, but maybe you're right. Maybe it is Joe Ficazio.
And then there's what's his name? Brom.
Oh, Tom Latimer.
Latimer, yeah. And Natalia and Kenzie, right? Casio.
Yeah.
I knew we were close. Jay need to throw an extra N in there somewhere. Well, there's the only person that's somewhat local is Wrecking Ball.
Yeah.
So they should definitely have Slady's close. So I think anybody else that's NWA adjacent or has anything to do with the NWA could be there that's with traveling. I mean, if there was ever a place Cardona would mean something, and same thing for Holiday, I think that would be a place.
And that's the thing. We don't know. Maybe we'll see Holiday as champion come this event. Sam Retro says Ocasio, he runs that promotion NWA is partnering with in Queens, which I think that promotion's name is like Championship Wrestling Entertainment or something like that.
Maybe that's the new promotion.
Maybe
we've undercovered.
Maybe, and then you would have an NWA East Coast promotion. But again, I'm not holding my breath for that. So
the Alliance guys are secretly private dicks.
It's no secret about it. Sorry, it's Championship Entertainment Productions.
CPAC.
Yeah. So if Holiday goes over, it's a triple threat in Philly. Do we agree? I don't necessarily think that, Matthew. I think it just depends on what happens. I feel like I do 100% feel like whatever happens in the Saturday is going to dictate what the main event will probably be for the 76. I feel like that's why they're putting the territory show on the main YouTube channel to catch everybody up, because they didn't film anything to build up a world title match beforehand. And honestly, Holiday's got to be the guy to me, whether it's a rematch or a Holiday wrestling somebody else as champion. I feel like they got to do something. If it's true that EC3 has defended that title 75 times in the last calendar year, there has never been one moment where that title was in peril. There was never a single moment when any of us thought that EC3 would lose the title. But this weekend against Richard Holiday and the way that this show has been built up, it could, right? Like, I'm not saying it's going to. I'm not saying that EC3 walks away with the title or that Holiday walks away with the title, but I think it's the first time in a long time I have doubts about who will leave that ring on Saturday night as world champion. And I think that's the best thing that the NWA could do, because everything else doesn't feel like it feels like everything's an exhibition.
Does everybody? Go ahead, DK. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I was just going to say, have I missed something? Why is he saying a triple threat in Philly?
Yeah, but I don't know if there's actually a match scheduled, right?
There has been no formal announcement on the world title match. There's been no formal announcement for a national title match. There's been no formal announcement of what you're going to do with somebody like, Throwbilly Silas Mason. There's been no, so like there's lots of matches.
Throwbilly's taking on Colby Carino.
Oh, that's official?
That was what they put on their website.
How did I miss that?
I don't know. I talked about it. Maybe that was the week you were out.
Yeah, that was the week that he was pretending that he was sick.
I wasn't pretending.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm not gonna doubt him, since I was barely living last week. Although I still managed to make an hour of the show.
I thought about coming on, but I didn't want to get you guys sick.
Well, I was trying to get you two sick.
All right.
Everybody who was watching the show was getting sick of us. That's for sure.
Shit.
Real quick, while you guys are doing that, are you guys familiar with the 2 week, 3 week rule?
No.
When it comes to promoting, and it's different probably maybe now, I'm not sure. But generally speaking, when it's promoting, most people decide they're going to go to an event. The majority of the people are going to really decide that they're going to go to an event about 2 to 3 weeks before the event. And that's why between week 2 and week 3, between week 3 and week 2 is the most important time to get as much promotion and make sure all your posters and your flyers and your advertisements are everywhere at that period. So the NWA is going about a week before their thing. If anything with this holiday is true, it's about a week beforehand.
I don't see anything on the NWA website indicating that match is going to happen. Maybe I'm missing it, and I'm okay if I am. I just don't see it yet. But again, it doesn't matter. Okay, so you still don't have a match for Tom Latimer. You still don't have a match yet for EC3. Some people are expecting it.
All right. I'm going to post a link in the
chat.
Yeah, in the chat. I think I had to do this for Matthew or somebody last time too, because it's in one of their news releases.
3 more huge matches for August 31st. It's still to this day, the only reason I'm excited to go, besides hanging around with the Alliance guys, is I'd like this. It's kind of cool to see NWA champion again. and I want to see Billy in person, and I think that might be the only reasons.
Yeah, and I don't even think our pal Poyle will be there. I don't think that's happening either.
No, Poyo's avoiding me.
I don't think it's Poyo's avoiding you. I think it's just they are not booked. And
Poyo doesn't want to realize that if I'm there, Poyo's not the sexiest person in the arena.
There could be some truth to that.
I still think Poyo should manage Trevor Murdoch, by the way. Be his perfect pen.
I don't hate that idea either. Let me tell you what I think the announcement's going to be. 4 more years. No, I think that Billy's going to announce that there will be an additional program that'll be exclusive to YouTube. I think that they figured out how that they can work with the CW in that they're going to get an opportunity to showcase some more of their talent, lesser known talent, on a more territory-driven program that they may call USA. That'll be on the YouTube channel. I still really, really, really like DK's idea of a live signature event on the app. I think that would be great. The other thing
maybe
that I think would be interesting,
maybe that's what will feature the Mid-America title.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I thought. The USA would feature the US tag titles and the Mid-American title, as well as the Exodus Pro Midwest Championship or the Joe Kazana Promotions Southern Heavyweight Championship, just as a way to kind of get some of these guys more TV exposure. The thing about the territories, which is kind of interesting the way it's working out, EC3 is having constant talent evaluations before every Exodus Pro event. And a lot of the guys that have been working with EC3 are now we're seeing on Power. And likewise, Joe Kazana has that working relationship with the Jacobs Richard Wrestling Academy in Tennessee, and you see a lot of their students now appearing on Power too. A lot of their students have been working with Joe Kazana Promotions first, and then making their way to Power. Even Kylie and Kenzie spent some time with Jacobs and Pritchard Wrestling Academy. So again, I feel like that might be the ticket that we see a more territory show, which will feature, again, someone like Thrillbilly is the Southern Heavyweight Champion, so maybe he'll defend the title on that show, and we'll see that Mid-American title defended. The champion supposedly been crowned at the next set of tapings that will be featured. So
yeah, I hope they plunk down that championship match in one somewhere, maybe at the 76.
Yeah, I mean, it would be great if they plunked it down. I mean,
yes.
That's it. You just plunk it down, and I think we'd all, you get real biblical about these things, and I don't know. I'll try to be stupid. I'll stop.
What actually wouldn't be a bad idea?
What's that?
Guys, you could steal this idea. If you remember Pro Wrestling USA, they used to have where they have different matches from different territories and different promotions and stuff like that.
Oh,
maybe that could be what the US is, what it is.
Oh man,
Pro Wrestling USA with matches from different NWA territories, and maybe matches, if they allow it, from where EC3 is defending, and maybe World League Wrestling. Chris Dog's favorite promotion.
Yeah. I that would be awesome. I think that would be great.
You can send the checks to Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators, care of Jaden. I'll give you the address if you guys just message me. So, big check, royalty check for that idea.
Well, they could just, they don't have to send you a check. They could just Zelle it. You don't even need a check anymore. They just Zelle it.
Yeah, I'm not a religious zealot.
You could Cash App.
No, I definitely only PayPal because I have. What's the other one that's not PayPal?
Venmo.
Yeah, I remember when back then when Venmo was only for drug dealers and douchebags, but now I guess everybody uses
it. Cash App is for. Never mind.
It's for OnlyFans and Donkey Burrow shows in Tijuana.
Hookers. It's for hookers.
He means like
Luthez?
Luthez, yeah, exactly.
Exactly. What do you think I meant?
Matthew Underwood said Snapchat is for cheaters. There's a lot that I think that Snapchat is for. Michael Manning says, I still can't believe that the CW deal has locked me out. The NWA can't see in the UK. Yeah, and you're not the only one. Of course, our pal Fiona can't see it. Our brother Tim can't see it. It sucks. And if they were to figure that out too, I think that'd be great. I just don't think that they've put enough thought into it. And I ultimately, until the NWA starts touring in the UK, which I think is definitely not on the table now, considering World of Sport is coming back and there's enough wrestling happening in the UK that I don't think the NWA necessarily could compete. I don't know, man.
The only way to see NWA International is to see EC3 go to your country and have it defended.
That's actually true. Matthew Underwood said, "Is Tim going to watch on Saturday?" I don't know. I've been talking to Tim. He kind of cares about who EC3 will be wrestling at the 76, but I don't know if he'll be watching. I don't know if he cares anymore, to be quite honest.
Tim, while Jay's eating his mayonnaise, you and I should go to Assad's Hot Chicken.
That's definitely something you guys could do without me.
No, we have to come with you. We're getting cheesesteaks.
Cheesesteaks. I'm excited for cheesesteaks. All right. Let's talk about Pow. What's that?
I'm jealous about cheesesteaks.
You had the opportunity to come.
You want to look at my bank account and tell me that again?
Yeah, well, I told you, get your OnlyFans thing going and you'll be all right. Start selling your pics on Snapchat.
People only pay so much to see an old man yell at clouds.
You've been giving it away for free so long, nobody wants to pay for it.
Yeah, you cloud yelling hoe.
That's the first time that's ever been uttered on this podcast.
Probably won't be the last.
Yeah, probably. All right, so let's talk about this week's episode of Power.
Oh, we have to.
It hasn't even been a year since Power has been on the CW, which is crazy to me because, it's only been since February 6th.
God, it feels like 9 years already.
Right? It does feel like a very, very long time. But on this week's episode of Power, we were delighted and treated to a World Junior Heavyweight Championship match that featured 4 competitors. And every time I looked at the 4 competitors, it was like a babushka doll from Russia. Like one of them could fit inside of the other one. That could fit inside of the other one. You know what I mean?
Wasn't that called the Human Centipede?
different but similar. Personally, I don't love the idea of mixing your divisions. Obviously, Eric Smalls and Rolando are not full size. They're more fun size. I'm trying to use my words correctly here and PC friendly. They're little people.
I ain't PC.
That might get me banned, bro. Let's not use that word.
That will not get you banned. I've been using it for years now.
I mean, you're not. Well, I guess, dog. Yeah, but you directly aren't monetized via YouTube. So let's be PC here.
And also, I'm not on. There's probably a reason I'm not on the dog channels and YouTube page.
I heard it was because it made Dave Dahl jealous.
Dave Dahl's jealous of Tyrus because he's not quite as big, but he's twice as talented. And 2 times 0 is still 0.
So we had 2 smaller people in a matchup with 2 junior heavyweights, and Soda Pop is a guy who I've seen a couple of times. I've spoken to him. He's a good guy, and I feel like he has a good career ahead of him. But I feel like him being in a match like this devalues his credibility. I think putting Joe Alonzo in a match like this, now Joe's gone, and maybe that's part of the reason why he is gone, but putting him in as the match devalues him as well, and I feel like it devalues the junior heavyweight title. Now, Matthew Underwood says the concept of micros versus juniors is great in his opinion because juniors get to work big, but smalls needed to be caught by 3 guys on a crossbody to the outside is crazy. Safety first, but come on. Go ahead.
I'm about to say, Soda Popinski's been fighting smaller people forever. He had that big bout against Little Mac that one time. There is a reference. Anybody understand that?
I got it. I beat King Hippo, and that's where I about tapped out on the original Punch Out.
Super
But-
Macho Man was my favorite out of all the fighters that I fought against.
Getting back to the match, I just think that this is kind of insulting to the wrestlers who are not little people, and I don't think we got to see them work big. I think they worked their style in a match with people who shouldn't have been in the ring with them. I don't see this. If I tuned into the NWA for the first time and was really excited because I know that there's wrestling on the CW app and that the WWE is coming and we're going to see some great talents from NXT on this app in just a few weeks, and this is the first match I see, I'm skipping. I'm churning off the app. I'm going to go play Fortnite instead because this is garbage. And I don't mean to demean Eric Smalls or even Rolando. I feel like if you put them in a matchup with people their own size, we could probably get some fun stuff from them. Eric Smalls is a great promo. He seems to be well received by the audience. I just don't want to see him wrestle people who he shouldn't be wrestling in matches with. A junior heavyweight shouldn't be wrestling a micro. A micro shouldn't be wrestling a heavyweight. I didn't think it was
Unless
funny.
it's King Kong Bundy.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I didn't think it was funny then. I don't think it's funny now.
I thought it was hilarious then. That's what we need. King Kong Bundy. Tyrus versus Smalls.
How about you leave Tyrus at home and just use Wrecking Ball Legursky?
We already saw Tyrus defend the world heavyweight title against Rolando. That was so. What difference would it make if he had wrestled Smalls?
By the way, if they bring in James Ellsworth on the 76, I'm starting a fight.
And you should. Look,
I punch him on the chin, but he doesn't have one.
No disrespect.
Take it on the chin, but he can't do that.
No disrespect to Matthew Underwood, but he has the right to be wrong. Much like Kevin Frazier. The match was nobody cared. And the person who hit it best was Jay. Imagine that. Jay got something 100% right for a change. But yeah, you. But if I'm tuning in to watch something and this is the first thing I see, I'm turning it off. And
You sure you're just not selling them short? Sorry.
No, I very much am.
I hit guaranteed scoops. To the arena, it's kind of I think in their contract too, along with using the ring and the sound equipment and the Tron.
Well, Matthew, to answer your micro question, first of all, they don't have to be vying for any title. I mean, WWE had what's his name, Hornswoggle, for years,
and El Torito.
They put the cruiserweight title on him, and that was so good that they abandoned the cruiserweight title for years.
And when they brought it back, Hornswoggle wasn't invited to compete for it. So there.
Yeah, I mean, just absolutely ridiculous that you'd be wanting it, anything like that. It would just they're not buying for a title. I would rather not have just a little person wrestler who's there for comedic effect almost more than anything else. I mean, look, I used to, I don't anymore. I used to watch CMLL all the time. They have a lot of the mascots and those micros, and couldn't do that in the US anymore. Some group would cancel you. And but anyway, my point is, it's one thing to have them there. It's one thing to have them as kind of part of the, but the worst match at Crockett Cup was Smalls versus Slade, and it made Slade look terrible because Smalls was getting the advantage way too often. And again, if I'm tuning in and I see crap, and that's what it is, it's crap, well, I don't want to watch it. And no, it's not wrestling. And no, it doesn't matter how fake. What level of fake are you willing to accept? Very little. I'm willing to accept very little.
Matthew Underwood, I think you just nailed what we were thinking, and get them off the roster.
Right. Get them off the roster.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm not the one who's demanding that we get Rolando matches. I don't know what tickles Billy's fascination about the little
Probably
people.
because he's smart enough to tickle his balls. Just have to walk under him.
But like again, if it's done as an attraction, I'm all right with that. I mean, that's fine. There's attraction wrestling. Like if Tyrus was only used as an attraction in his run with the NWA, I probably would have liked him better. If they would have booked him like they booked 9/11 in ECW, I probably would have liked him better. No, but they put the world title on him and a guy who couldn't wrestle, and that exposed him in the NWA. Putting little people in the ring with junior heavyweights who are skilled athletes, I feel like you're devaluing the NWA. I feel like you're devaluing the junior heavyweight title. And I understand that this belt and this iteration has only existed for like the last 4 years or 3 years. But come on, man, that belt has credibility that links it back to the WWE, the WCW. That belt has so much history in Japan. And now it's being treated as a joke, as a fucking joke. I mean, let's be honest. That junior heavyweight title is held by guys like Danny Hodge, like Ultimo Dragon, some real good damn wrestlers. And we're putting it in the ring with little people? That's ignorant. It's stupid. It's not entertaining. And if you like it, you're wrong, period.
Yep, that's it. So, yeah, and this is actually the match that I never saw the ending to. I don't know what happened. I mean, I knew Alonzo was going to win because he was obviously going to lose championship somewhere else. And what's real fun, why hopefully the NWA has learned its lesson and will never, ever, ever do something like this again, these taping out of order and sorts, is that right after I watched Power, I watched Joke Santa Promotions, and there was Alex Taylor defending the junior heavyweight title in a match that wasn't that bad, actually. I was.
Who do you wrestle?
I like Alex Taylor, and I can't remember the guy his name he wrestled against, but I've seen him before. When we were watching Joe.
Yeah, he beat Mims, I think.
Who?
He beat Mims because he was Hada.
No, for the junior heavyweight title.
No, the guy that Alex Taylor defended the title.
Oh yeah, okay.
So I mean, beat Mims when we were watching. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think he's a pretty good wrestler. I think, and I haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure it's a good match. And that's the kind of matches that junior heavyweight title should have. It shouldn't be a parity belt. I mean, I hate to again poo-poo on some other situation, but again, Max as television champion has completely destroyed the meaning of either one of those titles because they are not defended. The whole point of having a TV title is having a champion defend on television on a regular basis. We haven't seen the TV titles but 2 times all year. I like Max as an attraction wrestler. I think Max would be a perfect attraction wrestler. But this, as a TV champion, Max has done nothing to make me inspired, nothing to excite me. It's cool that seeing Max with the 2 belts, but the belts are absolutely meaningless at this point. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of the junior heavyweight mixing with the minis. That I feel like they could have done something so much better with that. Let's go to the next match that was on the card, which I believe was Jack Stane and Anthony Katena, who ceremoniously had Dusty Rhodes mural, and I believe it was Harley Race on his right leg and hip, and on the other side it was a picture of him. And they even made the comparison on commentary is he trying to compare himself to Dusty? And I think what he was trying to say inadvertently is that he's going to be a legend. This match was all right. Just a good place to showcase Jack Stane. I like Jack Stane. I feel like the NWA needs more matches like this where it's kind of competitive, but obviously the right person wins. and it gives you an opportunity to kind of build up the person who won in the match. DK, what were your thoughts on this one?
It's actually a little bit better than I was expecting it to be.
It felt like an enhancement match, but not a squash match.
It felt like a star versus a preliminary talent, or an opening match guy, maybe.
Yeah,
that would probably be a good. I could see Anthony Katana, whatever his name is, wrestling another enhancement talent, or certainly a jobber, and being put over without any issue. I mean, the guy actually looks good. He
has a great look.
Yeah, he looks good. He talks okay. I'm sure that will improve with time.
They have Chris Silvio as his manager. He does a lot of high flying, but I feel like he looks maybe too big to be in the junior heavyweight division. Maybe I'm wrong, but if he isn't, he'd be a perfect addition. He'd fit right in with a guy like Jack Cartwheel or Colby Carino, or even Alex Misery. I think he would fit in nicely with the guys who don't mind taking it to the sky in a junior heavyweight style match.
What's Katana's first name? Colt?
Anthony.
Oh,
Anthony.
It's not Colt Katana.
Boom, boom. He'd be Bang Bang Colt Katana.
Maybe.
Tony Katana sounds like a Sicilian name.
There was one thing in this match that I didn't like, but it's the same problem that you have in these type of matches, which is where you get the big, powerful guy like Jack Stang, and the only way that the other guy ever gets the advantage is moving when the other guy's charging the corner and runs his shoulder into the pole. And it's an overused trope now.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, it's just it happened in this match. You'll see it a lot with somebody like Roman or Solo or Braun Breaker. Those type of big, huge guys. And it's like, okay, there's just that's getting to be a little bit too much.
The next match up would be Boz versus Baron Von Storm. Now, I'll be honest, I kind of checked out of this match. I didn't really see most of it. I know that Baron Von Storm as a gimmick is good to prolong Tim's career. He doesn't have to bump a whole lot under this current incarnation. They're giving him the old Baron Von Raschke gimmick. I know that Jaden had said once before that he didn't really think that was culturally sensitive, considering that we're in a country with, some people being called Nazis. But I don't know. It's hard for me to care about Tim Storm under this gimmick. Boz, I've seen Boz before. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Boz is the real life husband of Samantha Starr. And I saw him in Nashville at those TV tapings, and I thought that guy looked pretty good in the ring and could be something. But again, I don't think that's what he got on Tuesday. DK, what was your thought on this match?
I don't remember Boz, although they talk like we've seen him before.
Yeah.
And I don't specifically remember him. I did think that he has a good look. He kind of like with the guy that Jack Stang faced, Anthony Canetta. Okay, sure. I think these two guys may put them in a tag team. Go after the U.S. Tag Team Championship. Good look. Probably somebody who could, look good in a match that isn't him against a guy that doesn't really sell in Storm. I've kind of tossed my hands in the air when it comes to Baron Von Storm. It's like, well, like you said, it's, Tim's approaching 60. He might as well, if he's going to work in the ring, he might as well work as this character and just, go. Don't know what you really do with them other than this. I did like when you had Kerry Morton in the claw and wouldn't let go.
Yeah.
I mean, that almost made me a total fan. So match was what it was. Storm won with the claw. I think if you're looking to build people, put Boz, put Katana or Katina or Cantina or whatever his name is, put them in one of the territories, let them get some
seasoning,
some work in. They got good looks. They, I think they could maybe do something. I will say I think it was Boz that was wearing like pants with a belt, and I don't like that. Get wrestling gear.
Wrestling gear, I think, is always preferred. In Jaden, you didn't see any of these, right?
I don't, but I recognize Boz. He's actually a East Coast wrestler, Dustin Bosworth, I think his name is. And he wrestles a lot like in the Carolinas and the Mid-Atlantic area. So he's got some good size. He's got some good speed. He works out. It's about I know of him. I've seen him, but I haven't been in the same building as him. But I do know of him, and he's a pretty good wrestler. Does have a nice look. So I think he might be useful for him.
Speaking to what DK just said a few seconds ago, he has been working with the NWA. He was at their both of the last two Chicago events. He worked the FTW NWA Invasion from last year, as well as one of the TV tapings that I was at, I think in Nashville. He wrestled Zion, the original, back in August of last year, almost a year ago. He did that. And then to Jaden's point, yeah, he has wrestled a lot in the Carolinas. Even just a couple weekends ago, wrestling against Angelina Love and Fodder when Dustin Bosworth teamed up with Samantha Starr, which I believe is his wife. So a little bit to that. But yeah, I feel like, again, these kind of matches don't hurt the product. These are good matches. Like I said, I didn't see the Boz and Tim Storm match, Baron Von Storm match, but watching Jax and Katana, I felt like these are the kind of matches that will continue to build talent. Like if you're going to put Katana in the ring while he's still young, you put him in the ring against somebody like Jack Stainer, put him in the ring against somebody like Mims, and those victories start adding up, and those talents become more credible in the eyes of the fan because they have wins and losses, not just getting title matches because ridiculous reasons. Which brings us to the main event, world title matchup. Casey Kazana has wrestled exactly one singles match in an NWA Power ring, and he lost. I don't know why they put him in a world title match with EC3. EC3 has a good match with KC, and I'm not saying that the kid isn't talented. They call him White Lightning. They call him White Babyface. He's fine, and I think he's going to be a good wrestler, but I don't know why you give him a title shot when there's other people on the roster who might be more deserving. And, a loss to EC3 as your world's heavyweight champion, I don't think diminishes anybody. But again, it's like, who'd he beat? You know what I mean? Like, who did Casey Kazana beat to get this opportunity? And the answer is no one.
I heard he beat El Dandy.
Who are you to doubt El Dandy? DK, what did you think about this matchup? I mean, I thought it was a good match. Don't get me wrong. And I liked how the seasoning of the match was, the pacing of it was, EC3 was overlooking KC, and then until he realized he needed to stop. And he was able to steal a victory with that 1% move, which I don't care for that either. But all in all, I thought the match was pretty good for what it was. What did you think?
It was a classic rookie versus veteran champion. I don't know that I would have had it been for the title. I think of it, they had just had it as special challenge match or, something, it would have been fine. Yeah. Veteran overlooks rookie who's better than they thought. Rookie makes some good moves. Veteran finally steps up and takes advantage of rookie and puts him in his place. Rookie does the comeback. Rookie.
Okay. It keeps sounding like you're saying Ricky.
No, sorry. Rookie. Rookie does the comeback. Almost looks like they have a chance of winning until the veteran hits them with their finisher, kind of out of nowhere, and then you get and then they get the win. Matthew Kazana versus EC3 is part of a larger story with the feud with JCP versus Exodus Pro. Yeah, I hate shit like that.
And that's fine, because that's what I've been kind of talking about for a long time, is that the NWA needs to build these continuity and they need to build storyline. And if they were setting this match up to, point towards the return of the territories, where you have, members of the Joe Kazana roster taking on members of the Exodus Pro roster, with maybe AJ Kazana championing the JCP side and EC3 championing the Exodus Pro side. Well, then now you're on to something, and now you kind of hooked me in, but just on the surface, it didn't feel like it served.
Although it ended with handshakes and everything, so it didn't further a story in that way.
The NWA of WCW era did something similar for a while when Flair was a babyface fighting champion, so he was giving title matches to people that weren't getting title matches before. So he was wrestling against Bill Win on WCW television. So there has been times when that has happened. I just don't think that's what they're promoting this as. And if they would have, or if EC3 said something, or maybe a pro, I think I forgot what those things are, listening to you guys. Maybe it could have worked, but this just sounds like hey, all right, AJ, all right, you're going against EC3 for the title. That's kind of how it feels like it's going. Who shows up, and that's how they do the booking.
And he meant Casey, everyone.
Yeah, Casey.
Yeah,
actually, I would have rather had AJ. He's bigger.
I think that would have been a more fun match, to be quite honest.
Well, and it's something that
again, guys,
that Matthew pointed out. AJ should have been on commentary or something, because he can be a real threat. Well, he can only be a real threat if they build him into a real threat.
Yep.
And that's part of the problems we got going on. There's no build. I mean, the truth is, they could have just as easily put AJ in this match.
Yeah.
It probably wouldn't have gone just a hell of a lot different. Now, I did notice that at these tapings and when they were when we saw them live in Dallas the next month, I did notice that, Casey's firming up a little bit.
Yeah.
And EC3, it's kind of, for his small size, is starting to kind of monster up a little bit. He's never going to be huge, but he's about as big as he can get for how big he is. He's not an overly big guy.
I heard he's taking the Ico Pro.
Maybe. And so, look, I'll be honest, and Jay was talking about this earlier. The only thing that has excited me recently where the NWA is concerned has been this thing with Richard Holiday. And the sad thing is, if all you watch is Power, you wouldn't know anything about it.
Mm-mm.
Yes.
And that's really sad. But if you actually follow Exodus Pro and follow some of the stuff, EC3 and Holiday, and man, they've done a lot to build this up. And so it would, like Jay said, this is the first time that I feel that EC3's title's in danger. Does that mean he'll lose? No, I'm not even placing bets. But for the first time, He might.
May I ask you two a question since you both watch Power?
Sure.
Are the commercials that you probably have to try to fast forward and they'll play like 7 times same commercial in a row because that tends to be the way all the apps work? Well, but real quick, are those commercials local commercials or national commercials?
I think that what I've seen have been national commercials.
Yeah.
Like that I'm thinking about right now. I know that I've seen commercials for like T-Mobile. A lot of the T-Mobile commercials, those two guys annoy the shit out of me. I wouldn't buy a phone from T-Mobile just based on those commercials alone. I also saw one for some not dealerships, but just car companies. Like I think the last one I saw was like the Helpful Honda guys, but I don't think they. I don't think they are geo targeted. I think they're just regular ads.
It's a shame that's because we could have got maybe the Alliance guys to actually be on those commercials for the alliance-wrestling.com or maybe even Bucket for Rent as local commercials if they had that ability, because some apps do that too, I've noticed.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the most annoying thing is that, and Jay may have this issue too, since I'm not necessarily just sitting in a chair watching, that sometimes when the end comes, maybe I'll go to the kitchen or something like that, and it's the same show, the same episode that always comes on. I've wondered if I actually let the thing run for the full episode, will they start me on episode 2 next time, or will they just do this one again? I don't even know what the show is, but I hate it and I don't want to watch it. And I'm certainly tired of seeing the first anything within the first 10 minutes of it.
It's not the Big Bang Theory, right?
No, I think it's like Beauty and the Beast.
Because we all know Sheldon brings ratings.
I would gladly watch Sheldon. Young Sheldon's been a hoot.
Sheldon, well, Big Bang Theory does a lot for AEW.
Apparently.
But apparently does nothing for the CW app.
Well,
what's the show? Do you have any idea what it's called?
I think it's Beauty and the Beast.
Or from like the 1990s?
No.
No, I think they did a new one.
Oh.
I really don't.
With Terry Garvin?
I don't
DK
know.
will appreciate that one.
Terry. I miss him.
Terry Garvin, Terry the Beauty, Garvin, and the Beast.
Yes, I'm Terry Sim.
Continental Tag Team Champions.
I miss him. He's dead now.
Who, by the way, I believe Miss Linda could probably beat both Terry Garvin and the Beast.
I think you're right.
All right. So, what else is going? Do we know anything going on with the NWA announced? Anything new? Any word on Queen's thing? Any matches or talent besides who's on there?
Nothing's been announced yet for the Sacred Heart event that is coming after the obviously the 76. They're doing a meet and greet at the Walmart the night before, which is cool. I think if you want to go meet talent, I think they're also doing a live meet and greet at the show too before the event. For the Burke Invitational, here's what we know. And I don't have all the graphics. I have just a handful, but we know that Kayla Rossi will be in the Burke Invitational. We see that Hollywood Haley J is in
Hollywood.
I always say that too. Hollywood Haley J will be in the Burke Invitational. Misty Marks, who I'm not super familiar with.
Local girl. Local girl.
Of course, everyone's favorite little sister Kylie Page will be in the tournament.
Somebody rip her nose rings out, please.
What's that?
Somebody rip her nose rings out.
Adriana Mosley,
local girl.
Another local girl.
Yeah.
And then we know Natalia Markova has been announced for the Burke. A couple of the matches that have been announced, of course, early we got Knox and Murdoch versus the Southern Six, which is basically a matchup of the 2023 Crockett Cup winners taking on the 2024 Crockett Cup winners. Why this isn't for a tag team title match against BFT, I'll never know. We don't know what they're going to do with those gentlemen either at the 76. No world title tag match has been announced yet. We also got early.
We don't. BFT has a match.
Do they?
Yes, they're fighting the Immortals in a Liberty Bell or Liberty Brawl or something like that match. The problem is they're not saying it's for the title.
So it's the Liberty Bell match? That cracks me up.
Exactly. And they're not saying it's for the title, so I'm very confused.
Murdoch's one of the secret champs are going to win tonight on Power.
You know what, that could be true. I mean, I don't want to. These are not spoilers because they're not based on our knowledge of what happens at the Return to the Territories. But I mean, maybe that's why we haven't seen the Crockett or the that's why we have this matchup between the Southern Six and Murdoch's, because maybe one of those teams will walk away from the Return to the Territories as tag team champions.
I have heard rumors that this was back when we didn't know who won the U.S. tag titles and stuff like that, that there were 3 title changes that we weren't aware of. One was the U.S. tag titles.
Yep.
One was the Mid-America title, which a lot of us know who won that, but
yeah, and I hope they plunk that champion down at the 76.
Me too. But they didn't say what the third title was. They just said there was another title that they thought had changed hands that hadn't made its way through the TV things yet. And so I am wondering if a title change did not take place at the territory show or somewhere else, that there are new tag team champions. I do not know that to be the case. I 100%. The person who said it may have misspoken, but there was a rumor that there was at least one other title that's changed hands that we don't know about.
And by the way, I'm 100% spoiling everything. I'm spoiling everything. They're going to call me Don Jardine.
Oh, Jesus.
The spoiler.
I got it.
Well, for those out there who didn't. So anyway, what else were you saying, Jay?
Other matches that are announced for this night of wrestling. We have the 4-way U.S. tag title match. And again, I think this is also known as stuff as many people into a match so that we could showcase all of our talents. Daisy and Talos are your tag champions. If you don't know, they'll be defending against the Slime Balls, the Country Gentlemen, and the Fixers. Interestingly enough, the Slime Balls are the only team in there that haven't held those tag titles. So, I know Country Gentlemen did with not Casey Kazana, but you get the point nonetheless. So that match is scheduled. We also have Alex Misery versus Jack Cartwheel in a number 1 contender single match. That should be exciting. If you're into the high-flying style of wrestling, you'll enjoy that one. This one is just
what happens when you don't want either one of them to win?
You don't want either one of these guys to win?
I've seen Jack challenge for the junior heavyweight title a few times already, and it's just like I don't think there would be any real serious consideration putting the title on him. I really wouldn't want the title on Alex Misery, and so it's just like even if the end goal would still be Alex Taylor holding retaining the championship, I would like to have a match that makes me feel like, the title could change hands, or ooh, this could be fun. Neither one of them give me that.
Maybe Jack Cartwheel is the Natalia Markova of the junior heavyweight division.
In the sad way, you're kind of right.
By the way, guys, NWA peeps, every once in a while, Lindsay Dorado's in the area. He's in the area. Give him a call. Go ahead.
The next matchup is one that I don't know that anybody asked for. Another way to shove 4 guys into a wrestling match. Brian Idol, Mims, Burchill, and Carson Drake. No storyline here. No real build. Just 4 guys we're going to put in the ring together.
Who would you want to win?
Burchill.
I like how they're trying to repackage Mims, and I think a victory for Mims would mean that they're following through with that. Burchill, I think, would be a great way to kind of reignite him in the NWA. Like, he was kind of used almost exclusively as enhancement until they took him off TV completely. So, if they have plans to do something with Burchill, this would be a good way to start it. Like, I don't think Idol wins. I don't think Drake wins, but either Mims or Burchill would certainly benefit from a victory in this situation.
I think they're going to put Mims over because of association with G's, because G's is from Philly.
That would make some sense too.
But I want Burchill.
Like I said, I think both of those guys I think would make sense. We'll see. We'll see. And you'll be there to see it too, Jaden, live and in color. Speaking of...
what if I was colorblind? What if I was colorblind?
It won't be new to you. I'm kind of excited about this match. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I'm a big fan of Samantha Starr.
Really?
Swerve!
Stop lying.
Ella Envy, the Alliance sweetheart, will be in action with her it girl, Ms. Samantha Starr, as they take on the King Bees for the NWA World Tag Team titles. King Bees recently lost the Mission Pro Tag titles. Does that further cement them as NWA stay, or is this a deal where this wasn't supposed to be a preview show? We're still a couple weeks away, but that's another matchup that's coming up.
Yeah, but I won't be on next week. I might not be on next week. I could be on next week, but I may not be. Next week
I don't think there's going to be an episode next week unless DK's doing it himself, because I'm on a plane.
On Thursday?
I think so. Maybe not. Let me check my itinerary.
Yeah, I thought you were coming in on Friday.
Let's see.
As we're waiting for Jay to learn how to read, I like this match, I guess. I mean, I don't know much about the King Bees. I hate when they just take two people's nicknames and make them the tag team name or the last names or whatever.
Son of a bitch.
But yeah, and then I'm kind of want the information technology the girls to win, because nerds need to win something too. Do it for the nerds, IT.
I do fly out Friday, so Thursday we can still do a preview show. And then as far as matches goes, that's what's announced. That's what I have. I know that in the chat you guys said Carino versus
Thrillbilly.
That's cool. I think both of those guys had really good matches against Davey Richards separately. So maybe they can make magic at the 76. I don't hate the idea. Like, I'd rather see Thrill in a match for a title, but if he's not going to be wrestling for the title, then a match with Colby I think would be fun.
I'm really kind of interested now to see Back to the Territories, which has been a while since I've been, wanting to see what the NWA is doing.
Yeah,
in a taping. But just because everything that's going on now that would seem to build towards certain things like Thrillbilly versus Latimer or, whatever, and you're just stuck going, why aren't we getting this match? Well, maybe we got a territory match. I don't know. But it's funny because there is no setup for most of this, and so it's like, well, I kind of want to see what happens.
So I went to the only website that I know of that even has wrestling news from from Tennessee, and they don't have any results for what happened. So I don't know either.
Go on Instagram and look up hashtag Back to the Territories, hashtag NWA, and see if anything pops up. That's generally how I get most of my spoilers.
Look at Luthez with the commentary. The IT girls are the was girls. Champs retain. That's good. I like that. Yeah. So, again, I'm sure we'll have a national title match. I'm sure that the 10 pounds of gold will be defended. I'm sure Max will be in some sort of match.
Is Jack Stain going to be there?
I assume so, but I don't know in what capacity. There's been so much that hasn't been announced, and again, I don't think another tournament is the right idea. I don't think maybe they do a battle royal. I mean, it just feels kind of cliche at this point. But again, I don't hate it either. You got to put all the guys on the show. You got to get people paid, and they got to be a part of the event. So,
I'd be curious to see Jack Stain. I never saw him in person, so that'd be cool. He might be somebody I'm interested in seeing. Believe it or not, I don't think I've ever seen Trevor Murdoch in person. I might be wrong, but I want to see Trevor.
yeah, Murdoch's is a fun tag team. That's going to be a fun match. They had a good match at Crockett, I thought. DK, did you like that match at the Crockett Cup? Murdoch's versus Southern Six?
Yeah, they had 2 matches actually that we got to see, and I enjoyed them. I actually think they make a good tag team. That's what I was saying. It's like either time to put the titles on them or time to send them on their way.
Yeah, the one time Billy doesn't break up a tag team.
and they put them together after they feuded, so they just did it in reverse. Hey, it's 20 past the hour.
They broke up a feud. That's what they did. He did.
Yeah. He broke up the feud. So I think it's time to put an end to tonight's
Misery.
Alex Misery will be in action against Jack Hartwell at the 76. You briefly mentioned that there is a Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiator event coming to us on September the 28th in comfortable,
you forgot it, didn't you?
Safe Riverton, New Jersey.
Yes, it's Saturday night, September 28th, at the Sacred Heart Church, the only Sacred Heart venue that matters. Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators presents Unleashed. The main event will be Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators heavyweight champion Breaker Morant defending against one of the most popular and talented wrestlers, former dog champion, former Busky Eric Martin. So that match is going to be great. We got a champion versus former champion. It's going to be excellent. That's going to be worth the price of admission alone. But that's not enough. You're also going to see the World Wrestling Grand Prix Championship on the line as one of the most downloaded social media persons right now. The guy who is at a major crossroads of his career. He is David Goldie, the WWGP champion, will be defending against Pat Sawyer, the indigenous assassin. He is an absolutely massive individual. He is trained by HC Loca, Ring of Honor, and ECW fame. And that match will be for the World Wrestling Grand Prix Championship. It's a true David Goldie versus Goliath. You'll also see the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators Tag Team Championships on the line as Daredevil Dave Dahl and Dylan Mesh with Connor the Flag Boy in their corner go against Riot City's Most Wanted. You'll also see in a match that's going to have repercussions all over Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators, you will have the former dog tag team champions, the old school empire of Patch and Vinny the Fixer, going against the world's sexiest tag team of Dad Bod and all natty Adam Matthews. There's not a steroid in his body. You're also going to see the extremely popular Marvelous take on the GOAT from South America, and he's the greatest of all time. He's not just a GOAT. He is Pedro Pablo, and he will be Pedro Pablo and Marvelous going one-on-one. First time matchup, international repercussions. It's going to be great from top to bottom. Don't forget, there'll also be former WWE and Ring of Honor superstar, plus throw OVW in there, Tank Tolan, going against Connor the Flag Boy. You also see Nick Botti will be action. A very special appearance by ECW original Jim Molyneux. And that is again Saturday, September 28th at the Sacred Heart Church, 103 4th Street in beautiful, pedestrian-friendly Riverton, New Jersey. Bell time 7:30. Admission will be $20. Hopefully soon you'll see it on dogprowrestling.com for all your information. Or you can call the dog hotline at 856-417-4187. You can buy the $20 seat, but you're only going to need the Edge. Dog Pro Wrestling, South Jersey's #1 wrestling promotion.
You were great until right at the end when it turned robot, but I think that was great. I'll clip that for you and send it out to you. That's going to do it, guys. I do, again, want to say thank you so much for your viewership, your hanging out, your community. This page, this channel doesn't grow without your guys' input, without your support. And
without your comments, without your liking, comment, subscribing, and sharing, nudge, nudge, without Jay putting it on the community tab on his page.
Yes.
He's about to do after this is over.
We lost you. You're mostly robot voice now. But again, I just want to say thanks, guys. And
eject, start, Laserbeak, eject, Ravage, eject, Operation, promote the NWA.
Jesus, I can't believe I gave you airtime to say that. DKM, please, is there something going on that you would like our viewers to know about?
Not yet, but keep watching.
There'll be more. Stay tuned.
Give me some hints,
Anyways,
DK,
guys,
so maybe I can come to Texas to see it in my Megatron voice.
You're like Astro Train. Yeah, so again, guys, thanks so much for being a part of this community for the last couple of years. Thank you for being a part of the Alliance Guys podcast and helping us get to 5K. Of course, it's only upward from here. If you want to help support the channel, again, best way to do it, like, comment, subscribe. That really helps grow our audience that you've become a part of. If you want to financially help us out, we'll take that too. You could buy your W. You can get W as your energy drink. Use the code the Alliance Blog, and you save like 20% off. Plus, we get a little for you buying the product. A lot of great flavors,
like peach and peach.
That's my favorite flavor, beach and peach. Jaden likes that one too. I also like the blue. They call it Big Energy Tears, but it's like a blue raspberry. It's chef's kiss. And I learned that if you mix it with the soda stream, you get the carbonation. It's like you're drinking a regular energy drink, but it's better because it's endorsed by the Alliance Blog. Also, if you want to help support us, you can get your very own championship trophy from Trophy Smack, whether it be for your fantasy football, your golf league, your bowling league, your fantasy baseball league, or your salesperson of the week award. You can get a title to celebrate the person in your life. They'll be constructing our Alliance Blog title, so that'll be fun. And lastly, we have shirts available for sale on the website. Merch link is in the bio. If you buy a shirt, you're just helping this channel continue to grow, helping Jay do some more fun things that we can talk about, share about, and show about. That's going to be it, guys. Anything else? You guys want to add anything before we say goodbye?
No.
Random Transformer saying, buy the shirt.
Buy the shirt. Until then, we'll see you at the matches. Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. for NWA Power. You can find us on social media at the Alliance Blog. And until next time,